Thank you so much. It looks so great seeing you all here today. Prime Minister Orban, distinguished members of government, esteemed colleagues and friends. Thank you for giving me the opportunity to bring greetings from the freedom-loving patriots of Germany. It's my honor to address you as the chair of the Alternative for Germany, the leading patriotic opposition party in Germany, the second strongest political force nationwide, and the next ruling party. In my today's speech, I am going to shed some light on the situation in Germany for you to get some transparency what's going on in our home country. Our legacy media and establishment politicians fear us like no other party, with good reason. More and more voters in Germany are simply fed up with being lied to and watching their quality of life deteriorating year for year. Establishment politics have turned Germany into a danger zone for its citizens. Its people suffer from mass migration, exploding crime rates, high taxes and energy prices, inflation, and the destruction of wealth. That's why they voted out the old left-green government, only to get a government that continues down the same disastrous path. They got a government that pretends to prevent illegal immigration while leaving the gates wide open. In a futile attempt to evade his domestic problems, our Chancellor travels the world, fomenting conflict and throwing German taxpayers' money out of the window, as we see in the Ukraine. But when it comes to the daily horrors of imported migrant violence and Islamist terror on the streets, our Chancellor remains silent. Mr. Merz won the election with copy and paste promises taken from us, the Alternative for Germany's program. The day after the election, he went back on his word in every regard. He sold his soul to the leftists and kept them in power in exchange for being elected Chancellor himself. Desperately clinging to power by all means has become the primary concern of our establishment politicians. Driven by panic, they bend laws, manipulate the Constitution, and eliminate the fundamental rights of the parliamentary opposition in order to prevent a democratic transfer of power. The current government continues a war on free speech, started by its predecessors. They attempt to silence critical voices by framing them as right-wing and extremist. Under the pretext of fighting hate speech and disinformation, legitimate opinions are being criminalized. And finally, there is our domestic intelligence service, the so-called Office for the Protection of our Constitution. In reality, it is nothing but a service for protecting the establishment's dwindling power. When it comes to regular intelligence work, uncovering terrorists and preventing terrorist attacks, this office is a complete failure. Instead of attending to their proper task, they spy on the opposition with one goal in mind: to denounce the AfD as an enemy of the Constitution and fabricate a pretext for outlawing our party. Let's be clear, and this is what we want you to know, what we want the world to know what's going on in Germany. Influential politicians in Germany have their minds up on banning the strongest opposition party, on banning us, the alternative for Germany. They would eliminate a political force which will soon form the government in several East German regions. Furthermore, they want to ban a party and has caught up with and overtaken the Chancellor's party itself. It is grotesque, it is authoritarian, and yet this is a path they pursue, but they will not prevail. They will not prevail. The reason for these absurd schemes is very simple. Only by excluding our party from government can the woke leftist elites cling to power against the will of the majority. They refer to the leftist dogma as a firewall against the right-wing tide. Let's call it what it really is. It is a panic room of an anti-patriotic, woke establishment that is running scared. In their panic, they dismantle democracy itself. 1 in 4 German voters have cast their ballots for us, the alternative for Germany. They want us to take responsibility for our country's future, to exclude more than 10 million voters from proper representation, destroys the very foundations of democratic rule. As J.D. Vance put it, democracy rests on the sacred principle that the voice of the people matters. There is no room for firewalls. Thank you, Mr. Vice President, for these words in your magnificent speech on the Munich Security Conference. It restored confidence in the minds of countless European citizens. It is my firm belief that the future of our civilization is not merely a question of right versus left. Today, the true front line runs between authoritarian centralism and bureaucratic paternalism on the one side, and those who believe in and defend civil, economic, and intellectual freedom in our countries on the other. The wind of change is blowing strong in Europe and in the Western world. The future belongs to free, patriotic citizens and sovereign nations. This conference gives testimony to that fact. Prime Minister Viktor Orban, thank you and your country for hosting us. You are truly a beacon of freedom. Thank you. We are patriots, and we stand steadfast on the side of freedom. We fight for free speech, the cornerstone of all freedom. We fight for secure borders and law and order. We fight for the safety for our kids and next generations. We fight for sovereign nations and the next generation. We fight for the right to be free citizens and free nations. And last but not least, we fight for peace. In the Ukraine, with Russia, and we fight for good relations to our neighbors and to the USA. Let's make Europe great again together. Thank you so much for having me here. Thank you. Now you can play the music. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you so much.